Hi, I'm the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is your May forecast for Sagittarius Sun, Sagittarius Rising, and Sagittarius Moon. At the heart of a situation is this Ten of Cups, and because it's a 10, you're closing out some kind of cycle that may tie to family or gaining peace or some form of fulfillment. This is about creating harmony in personal relationships, and there may be a longing to be close to others that mean a great deal to you. There's a focus on memories, togetherness, and feelings about the past. And this may be a period where it's very easy for you to work with others to compromise because there's something larger at stake. So for some of you, you're going to step out there with the olive branch. Take the first step to heal some kind of emotional breach. And this may be a time where there's good news to share between you and others, good times, connecting to loved ones, people that feel like family to you. So you're focused on shared well-being, where it's important that there's trust. You may be completing something emotionally. There could be issues of protection. Maybe you're going to get married, or you're developing your friendship, or you're working on your inner serenity, your spiritual happiness. And this could be a period where you have some kind of realization of a long-held hope or dream. So there's a happy occasion, there's some celebration, something to give thanks for. And it may connect to friends, collaborations, working with others, harmonious connections, associations, groups, and people who are on the same page with you. Negatively, though, there could be some passive-aggressive behavior. Somebody's playing games, toying with emotions, and to such a degree that you feel like a situation is very complicated, perhaps even hopeless. And so you're experiencing some kind of loss or emotional disharmony that, where you feel like people that should be on your team are actually deliberately working against you, pitting themselves against mutual goals or goals that you thought that you shared. So for some of you, you're getting this wake-up call because there's a dependency, a need to be needed, or inviting some kind of temptation or intrigue that proves to be your undoing. You also have this Eight of Cups, so you may be very disappointed with something that occurred in the past, connected to a loved one. You may feel abandoned, left out in the cold, and you want to move on from something that just didn't sit well with you. In some instances, maybe you're relocating. Now, it could be you're moving toward entering the fold of the family, where, this is like the prodigal son returning. But in some cases, you just feel like there's not enough sharing in the relationship. And so you're disappointed. Maybe there's some incompatibility. You can't seem to agree. So there are disagreements, there's loss, there's conflict. If this is about children, maybe somebody's rebelling, or there are just a lot of demands made by the children, or some delinquent behavior, or some kind of celebration doesn't go as you expect, or maybe your routine is off. There could be issues connected to walking, having to walk a tremendous amount, or maybe a family member is recuperating, maybe they're walking. This is very emotional, maybe overly emotional about something, because this is peak experience. You want to move past something, or maybe you want to resurrect a previous partnership. You're either realizing that something is dead, there's no possibility of reviving it, or you're moving in a direction where you hope will jumpstart a situation. Now, in the past, you were disappointed. You wanted to restore order to a circumstance, and maybe it had to do with a legal situation. You were disappointed about how things went, or an important decision that needed to be made. So, if this is about your health, maybe you're doing more walking, you're trying to restore order with regard to something, bring better harmony and balance mentally, emotionally, physically. But for others of you, you're disenchanted with a situation that you feel was rather unfair. It may be tied to someone you were once passionate about. Maybe it's a decision about your passion following your bliss, or someone that you've separated from. So you're making important decisions that may tie to debt, unfinished business, things that were never resolved, and having to be accountable. And who is accountable for that? This is about splitting responsibilities, obligations, assets, decisions between you and another person in a fair manner, especially if the scales have not been balanced. So, passion could very well give way to anger if there's been an injustice of some sort. For some of you, there may be a strong tie to a Libra person. Now, there is an agreement. Maybe you are either walking toward that agreement or you have made the decision to leave. Something about your feelings and emotional development is in the works, or was. This is past tense. Something was on offer, an offer, a proposal, an agreement, something where there was strong sentiment. And it may have to do with, being in the spotlight, getting some kind of recognition, being the focus of attention, or somebody was unfair. There was too self-absorbed, oblivious to your feelings or what was on offer. And for some of you, maybe there's been a little bit of dishonesty, if not outright, just not a lot of openness. Somebody is playing their cards close to their chest. They're not telling everything, not giving up all of the information, they're being vague and perhaps in some ways misleading. For others of you, there's very strong desire here. So you want to resurrect a partnership. You made the decision, something you felt passionate about, where agreements or feelings were in focus. Presently, you're dealing with either strong male energy or claiming your own power. There's a transformation here, may tie to work, may tie to institutions like the government or banks or the educational system, something where there's a definite leader in charge of authority. Again, you may be dealing with people who are very aggressive, domineering, demanding, overbearing. And so responsibility is in focus. There could be a transformation where you have more power, more control. You may be put in charge of something. You may have greater authority. Or you may be pushing against people who are trying to dominate. So the issue is taking charge. Now, you may be walking away from a job. Maybe you're disappointed in some control issues, because control is a major focus and your security is at stake. And all of your decisions right now are being driven by that sense of security, the need to establish some firm footing, to put something on solid ground that would give you some stability. This may be a project. It could be a piece of land, real estate, business, whatever it is, you're taking charge. You're taking on more responsibility, and you're willing to do so. You also find that you're being very direct, very assertive, and that could be the transformation. You're reclaiming who you are, your authority, your inner power. Or you're facing the music or someone close to you. So there is a decision to take charge, to restore some order. And you may either be walking away from something or walking toward it. This may be a strong tie to an Aries person. It could be a father figure. It could be an aggressive boyfriend. Somebody who's very imposing, positively or negatively. You may be making decisions about a family business or working with a father figure or success at work or taking charge of the family in some way. And it may also have to do with property. or being self-sufficient. So for some of you, maybe there's a focus on family assets, investments, property. Someone may have retired and they now find that they have the time, the money, the leisure to pursue other interests. Some of you may be focused on purchasing some kind of land or real estate. But there are also issues where maybe somebody is involved with a mistress or playing the role of mistress. So there is a conflict between being self-sufficient or the demand to be taken care of. You may be conflicted yourself about whether you want to be tied down to something or you want to be free to roam, to explore, to do your own thing. Perhaps, you're taking charge. Maybe you're single. Maybe you're in the midst of a divorce and you're walking away from something and you're perfectly happy with your own company right now. Or perhaps you're in admiration of someone that you're longing to be close to. This would be someone that you would consider to have the total package. They've got the looks, the culture, the brains, the intelligence. Someone who possesses the traits that you aspire to or you want to connect to, but for some reason, either you or another person are unavailable. This may be someone who's very self-contained. They don't need any help or they don't want any help. You may be playing that role or someone connected to you may be. So for some of you, negatively, if there's some family issues, some squabbles, some disputes or rebellion, or somebody is abusing power, there could be issues where something is going on where there's some backbiting, some gossip, some negative situations that may even put you in the center of attention. They could be some, an unkind focus, negative words or gossip or rumors, where your first impulse would be to retaliate. But that's only going to work against you. This is a card that says it's better to, take whatever's in stride and get on with the business of living. For some of you, it may be tied to property or assets that have some kind of memory, heritage, or ancestry attached to it. Now, in the future, you're going to have to make a decision about whether you want to take off, or there's a dilemma about something that has taken off. Maybe you're moving on, or maybe you're relocating. Maybe this is about traveling. You're uncertain, though. There's a lack of enough information or a failure to see something. Maybe you're repressing your emotions and not adequately dealing with a situation or someone close to you. There's some fence sitting. Now, you may be in conflict. You have this justice card. Maybe you're in opposition to somebody, and maybe you're walking away from a conflict with a strong authority figure, or you're conflicted about whether you should walk away from something. So you may be at odds either with others or within yourself. And you may need to reconcile this inner turmoil. For some of you, perhaps you're in some form of mediation or negotiations. There's a truce that's called, the end of a struggle where you finally come to terms. For some of you, you may be playing the role of mediator, the go-between opposing forces, or you may be the instigator of conflict between others. But there's a decision to be made that ties to income. Perhaps there's an invitation connected to, making money, or someone that is providing a sense of loyalty and security. Now, this night is the slowest night in the deck. Maybe someone is slow to invite you. You need to make a decision about taking off, and yet it's not forthcoming or in the way that you want, or you're looking at the cost of something, because this has you examining the details of some offer, proposal, or invitation that's on the table. You're examining some past habits, the rewards as well as the cost. So you may be looking at things that you've taken for granted before, and whether it's actually brought you any gain or you've lost on that deal. It may be family income, it may be money connected to a legal matter, income from property, could be rent, investment in a property, money that you're gaining from work, money that's given to you through an authority figure. So there are decisions to be made about an agreement, but there's some uncertainty. Everything is not out into the open. Again, somebody could be playing games, somebody could be left out. There's a sense that you want to walk away from anything that's negative, maybe even do your own thing. But perhaps you feel trapped. There, you can't come up with any ideas. Now, for some of you, you need to make a decision about paying for something. Maybe it's boxes for you to move. Maybe it's storage. Maybe, you don't have enough space. Maybe you're closed up in your room, or you have a tiny office, or you're working in a cubicle. But there's something about feeling confined, either physically or emotionally, that is weighing on you. Again, you've got two blindfolds here. So there's something you're not seeing, either because someone is misleading you or you're choosing not to see a truth. Because in fact, this is a mental state. You haven't been able to come up with any ideas. You feel like your hands are tied to a situation, and yet there is an opening. You just need to make a decision, but it's taking you a long time to move forward. Now, for some of you, you may be getting some unexpected income. You have to make a decision about a dilemma where you've been trapped, possibly with regard to your income, or whether you feel protected, whether there's loyalty or devotion. In some cases, some of you may be focused on a mistress and a secret love affair. Maybe your hands are tied, or you don't have enough information, or something's going on and you don't even see it. You're going to get some last minute notice, though, that ties to money or the future. You haven't been able to see the future clearly. But you're going to get some last minute notice where something literally falls in your lap and causes some frustration. You feel like you're temporarily bound and tied to a circumstance that you can do nothing about and that you have no power to prevent. But this is momentary frustration. This is a pip card. It's a minor card, so this is something that's in passing. Now, this is being driven by the Empress. Could be a Taurus person, or your own sense of happiness, success, fulfillment, health. So things that tie to your pleasure. For some of you, this is about a project and being successful, perhaps becoming a mother, connecting to mother, or tapping into your feelings of success and well-being. The Empress says that you are moving towards something. It may feel slow. You may feel like your hands are tied, but you are getting there if you are applying yourself. There's an opportunity for you to smooth a situation over, especially if there's been some estrangement, separation, some misuse of power. The Empress says that your communication skills, your charm, your beauty, you can attract a positive circumstance. If not, you can make a better connection if need be. But whatever you're doing is in a gestation period. It's going to take some time, because just like a child, you're going to have to nurture something. So maybe you're nurturing your body, maybe you're actually growing a child, or you're growing a project or a relationship, a dream, a desire. Whatever it is takes effort, that you tend to it, that you water it, you nourish it, and you focus on it. And you're going to get there. The negative is being apathetic and, remaining stuck, not putting forth the energy to move forward and not making any progress. It could be apathy that's a problem, or overindulgence, going too far, not knowing, how to keep a balance about something. And so, extremes in either direction, too much or too little. So you're looking for the attainment of something, to give birth to something. Whether, again, that's a connection, a sense of well-being, your happiness. Now, there's issues here of third parties, sharing with others. Perhaps this is healing, or sharing of wealth, prosperity, information, goodwill. There may be something to celebrate here. There's certainly going to be lots of exchanges of information. And that's why it's important that you take the blinds off and see things clearly, because some of it is just rumor. Some of it is gossip, falseness, flat out lies in some cases. So your ability to discern the truth is going to be important. You're going to get some important information, and you're going to have to know what's valuable and what's just trivial. And you're going to have to weigh your options. Maybe this sharing centers on resources, having or not having enough, gifts, going back and forth, exchanges. For some of you, maybe this is about the sale of something, or restructuring your budget, or taking on extra responsibility because you don't have enough, having to shift funds from one place to another. So maybe you're successfully juggling responsibilities or obligations or your finances, but there is again a pronounced emphasis on a dilemma, the uncertainty, the inability to make a choice. And you have very little fire in this reading, and so there's not a lot of movement. There's a lack of, again, passion or motivation or energy that compels something forward. But there is a timing factor. You're going to have to be very attentive to the details in this situation, because timing is critical. And this is something that's not new. It's coming back around for you to give further thought to. You're having to rethink something, a decision about a dilemma, a need to make a decision. And the timing has to do with, a last minute notice about leaving or being unable to walk away from a situation. There's also a strong focus on work, your productivity level, producing something in whatever capacity. And it centers on promises being kept. Either you're keeping a promise or someone else, or it could be some kind of invitation to an event. For some of you, this centers on a legal or court case. For others of you, this is again about getting some protection, feeling supported. You may be maybe there are conflicting interests. Maybe you're on a conflicting mission. Maybe you're working against yourself, or someone is working against you. Could be some rivalry. You have three major cards: Emperor, Justice, and Empress. With the Emperor and Empress here, we have a power couple. This could be parental figures or two people who are just very strong, very opinionated, and there's a decision to be made between them. What is fair? What is equitable? How can we bring balance and harmony to this connection? This is going to be a month of challenging developments that bear on your destiny, your future, your long-range goals, and the people that are tied to it. Now, what is the important question? The question is, how can I be more kind to myself and offer more grace in this very moment? And this gets back to that attainment of that sense of happiness and well-being. You are longing for some personal fulfillment, some kind of achievement that may tie to family or connection to others, where you've been disappointed and you felt abandoned. Growing our self-love is medicine to this world's broken heart. When you heal, we all heal. When you give yourself more grace, you're able to give the world more grace. So you're having to look at yourself with a grace filter. You're meant to be in this moment in your life. Release the inner critic and fill in that hole with your soul's truth, that you are infinite, you are loved, and you are already there. So you're having to make decisions about some habits where you've been holding yourself back, where you've felt abandoned. You're walking away from something that hasn't given you fulfillment that you seek. Now the answer is, talk is cheap. So this is about, again, that investment of time, energy, money. You're tired of somebody playing games or being passive aggressive. It's time to take some action, to be a leader, to make some decisions to restore order, to put something on the table and not be vague or misleading about it. Somebody's feeling trapped by a situation and they want to feel whole. They want to get on with their life. So there's some decisions to be made, and you may need to invest more of yourself, your money, your time, your emotions, or someone that you are connected to.